Have you ever looked at your trash and thought, this could be something beautiful? In today's video, I'll show you 12 never-before-seen summer upcycling ideas that turn everyday waste, bottles, bricks, cans, and broken pots, into magical garden art. From glowing solar towers to rainbow borders and even fairy bridges made of bottle caps, this isn't your usual DIY. It's where creativity meets sustainability, and every idea feels alive under the summer sun. Welcome to Mod House DIY, where we believe small spaces can hold big stories. This video includes timestamps so you can jump to your favorite idea anytime. And if something inspires you, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe and try recreating it using what you already have, because creativity starts with what's in your hands. Maybe to you, I'm just another face on a screen. But behind this content, there's a real story and a real family. This isn't just a video, it's a piece of my heart. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly matters. When you hit that subscribe button, you're not just helping a creator grow. You're helping a dream stay alive, giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing me. When morning sunlight kisses the earth, these towers awaken in silence. They were once forgotten bottles, tossed aside without purpose, now reborn as tiny beacons of wonder. Each clear curve of plastic holds a secret, a whisper of light, a fragment of color, a small story suspended in air. The garden around them hums softly with life. Bees drift lazily between blossoms, and the soft murmur of leaves answers the rhythm of summer. The fairy towers stand like guardians, not tall, not proud, but humble in their glow, each powered by the patient work of sunlight. They gather daylight, sip it slowly, and return it in the evening as warm gold. There's a certain honesty in the way they shine. No perfection, no symmetry, just quiet beauty shaped by human hands and recycled hope. When dusk falls, the tiny lights awaken one by one, flickering through the translucent walls, casting shadows that dance upon petals and stones. The fairies within, perhaps imagined, perhaps real, seem to breathe again under that soft illumination. From afar, the towers might look simple, but up close, they reveal textures that tell of care. Rough plastic smoothed by time, a hint of paint, a spark of imagination. The soil beneath them holds their weight like memory, steady and grounded. The science behind their glow is modest, a small solar panel, a wire, a bulb. Yet what they offer feels greater, a quiet reminder that transformation doesn't always need grandeur. Sometimes, all it takes is a second glance at what we've thrown away and the courage to see beauty again. As night deepens, the garden becomes an ocean of tiny stars. Each bottle tower flickers gently, mirroring the constellations above. And for a moment, standing there between earth and sky, you understand, magic isn't found, it's made. Slowly by hand, tenderly, from trash to light. There's something powerful in the weight of imperfection. Beneath the soft hum of summer air, these totems rise quietly, made not from marble or polished stone, but from remnants. Cement once poured for walls now rests here, molded by hand, holding bottles that once carried water, now carrying dreams. Each layer tells a story of patience. The base, rough and solid, anchors the tower against the wind. The bottles, clear and colored, catch the sunlight like captured rainbows. Between them, roots twist and flowers bloom, unbothered by what the world once called waste. In the golden hour, the totems seem to breathe. The light moves across their surfaces, a dance of shadow and shimmer. Cement, though heavy, reflects warmth. Plastic, though humble, glows softly. Together they speak of resilience, of beauty that endures because it's built from what remains. There's a kind of science hidden beneath the poetry. The cement keeps balance, absorbs heat, and holds moisture close. The bottles create chambers of air that reflect light and cradle soil. Yet when you look at them, you don't think of formulas or ratios, you think of calm, of how gentle hands can turn the discarded into design. As evening settles, the flowers close and the air cools. The totems stand still, patient sentinels of creativity, their colors now muted under the soft moonlight. Tomorrow, the sun will rise again, and their hues will return. Proof that transformation is not only about change, but about endurance. In these towers of cement and glass, art meets the ordinary. They remind us that beauty isn't always found in perfection. Sometimes, it grows quietly between what was broken and what was built again. At the edge of the garden, where sunlight lingers longer and wind slows down, something new begins to flutter. The wings don't move, yet they shimmer as if alive. A butterfly born not from nature, but from the patience of human hands. Once, these tires rolled down forgotten roads, their purpose long expired. Now, they rest softly against the soil, reborn as something delicate. Their bodies curve like the hearts of flowers, and from their sides, transparent wings rise, carved from old plastic bottles, brushed with colors that belong to summer: coral, lemon, lilac, and mint. The air around them hums with bees and quiet laughter. Children pause, pointing at how the sunlight bends through the wings, scattering fragments of rainbow over the garden path. The rubber beneath is sturdy, steady, almost proud, a reminder that strength and grace can coexist. There's a science to this small magic. Rubber holds warmth and survives rain. The painted plastic captures light and diffuses it into color. Together, they create balance, art that doesn't fade with weather, beauty that survives through storms. By dusk, the butterflies seem to glow on their own. The day's light remains trapped within their wings, trembling faintly as if ready to take flight. Around them, the flowers lean closer, brushing against the edges of what once was trash, as though nature itself approves of the transformation. And so the corner of the garden becomes a place of quiet wonder, where resilience takes shape as art and forgotten materials find purpose again. These butterflies never fly, yet somehow they lift everything around them. When night comes, they fade into silhouette, gentle guardians of the small world beneath them, proof that even the most ordinary objects can hold the light of imagination. When the sun rises gently over the fence, These blooms begin to glow, not of petals or pollen, but of painted plastic reborn with purpose. Each curve of a spoon reflects light like a drop of morning dew, soft and imperfect, yet beautifully alive. They sway with the rhythm of summer wind, whispering in quiet movements that catch your eye before your mind even names them. For a moment, you forget they were ever waste, once tools of convenience, now emblems of renewal. The garden, once ordinary, hums with playful color, pastel mint, blush, and sunshine yellow dance together under the open sky. Every spoon carries the faint memory of human touch, brushstrokes of paint, careful assembly, a hint of care in every connection. When the breeze comes, the blooms tilt slightly, shimmering like butterflies caught mid-flight. It's not the perfection of nature they mimic, but its joy, that casual, effortless beauty that comes from existing without apology. There's quiet science beneath their grace. The curvature of plastic amplifies sunlight. Their light weight keeps them in motion. The materials may be simple, but their rhythm transforms space. They don't just hang, they interact, painting the air with reflections that change through the day. By sunset, the fence becomes a mosaic of gold and coral. The spoons, once discarded, now return the favor, reflecting the world in color and movement. The flowers in the soil below seem to look upward, as if greeting their synthetic cousins with gentle approval. And as evening falls, these blooms fall silent, their pastel petals fading into silhouettes against a lavender sky. Yet even then, their presence remains, a small, glowing truth in the heart of a tiny garden. Beauty doesn't need to begin pure. It only needs to be seen, shaped, and given a chance to bloom again. Between the whisper of leaves and the hum of bees, a small archway stands, built not by architects, but by gentle intention. Its frame is humble, bottles once emptied, branches once fallen, wire once bent and forgotten. Yet here they rise again, forming a gate that leads to nowhere and everywhere all at once. When morning light slips through the garden, it finds this little portal and lingers. The sun scatters through bits of colored plastic, painting the soil in shifting hues, a mosaic of coral, green, and gold. Vines climb easily along its curves, embracing the recycled bones like they've always belonged there. There's no grandeur in its height, no precision in its lines, yet its charm lies in imperfection. You can see the fingerprints of its maker, the quiet decisions, where to twist, where to tie, where to let the material speak. Even the flaws tell a story, scratches on the bottles, rust on the wire, a smudge of paint from yesterday's work. In the evening, when the garden glows faintly under the last light, the arch becomes something else, a silhouette of transformation. It invites not only those who walk beneath it, but also the imagination. What if beyond this arch there's another world, one built from patience, renewal, and second chances? Technically, it's simple: structure, balance, and sunlight. Yet its emotional architecture runs deeper. It's a reminder that beauty often hides in the things we step over, throw away, or forget. That every garden, no matter how small, deserves a gateway that whispers welcome back. By nightfall, the arch stands quiet again. The air cools, the vines rest, and the colors fade into dusk. But even in the dark, the garden remembers that once, with hands and hope, something discarded was turned into a doorway, and that doorway led to light. brick once held walls together, silent, unnoticed, forgotten under layers of dust and time. Now, in the heart of a small garden, they breathe again, no longer part of a boundary, but a rhythm. A line of color tracing the edge of green, marking where wildness meets design. When you kneel close, you can see the brushstrokes. Imperfect lines of pink, mint, and sunflower yellow dance along rough surfaces, catching bits of sunlight between their uneven edges. The paint clings to cracks like memories clinging to scars, proof of history, not damage. Every brick feels different beneath the fingers. Some are warm from the sun, others cool where shade lingers. Together, they form a melody of texture and tone, earth meeting art, weight meeting color. When the garden wind moves, the flowers above them sway, and their shadows slide over the painted faces, turning static shapes into something that lives. There's a quiet logic behind the beauty. Brick holds heat, deflects water, and anchors soil. Yet that science fades the moment you step back and see the border glowing in late afternoon light. It's no longer construction, it's expression. At dusk, when the sun melts into soft gold, the border hums like an old song. Each color deepens, the patterns blur slightly, and the whole garden feels as though it's exhaling after a long, warm day. In these painted bricks lies a simple truth. Art doesn't always belong on walls. Sometimes, it belongs beside the earth, among roots and petals. These small squares of clay, once forgotten, now tell a story of transformation, from utility to beauty, from border to bridge. And when rain comes, the colors glisten brighter, as if proud to be alive again. The garden, framed by their glow, smiles quietly, for even in stillness, creation continues. The path curves gently, lined not by stones, but by worlds. Each bottle holds a fragment of life, a quiet landscape sealed in glass. They catch the light like jewels, their colors shifting with every hour of the sun. Inside, mosses breathe softly, grains of sand settle, and droplets of condensation glisten like morning dew. Once, these bottles carried water, oil, or something long forgotten. Now, they cradle the earth itself, tiny, self-contained ecosystems where life hums in miniature. The transparency feels intimate, like looking into time slowed down. You can almost see the rhythm of roots pressing gently against glass walls, patient and unhurried. As you walk the path, light bends through them, scattering faint rainbows over your shoes. The air smells faintly of soil and sun-warmed glass. You don't need to understand botany to feel the pulse of it. This small science of survival and balance. Each bottle is a dialogue between what was thrown away and what still wishes to grow. There's structure in their simplicity. Glass traps humidity, sand regulates moisture, moss cleans the air inside. But beyond the practicality lies poetry, the idea that even in confinement, life finds a way to bloom. By late afternoon, the garden hums with heat. The terrariums glow like lanterns buried in the ground, steady and calm. They don't demand attention, but they reward it. They don't speak loudly, but they endure. When night falls, they hold the last traces of light, reflections of stars above, faint glimmers of the day gone by. In these tiny worlds, time seems both infinite and fleeting. You realize, standing there, that beauty doesn't always rise above the ground. Sometimes it hides beneath your steps, waiting to be noticed. The bottles remain, silent, luminous, alive. A border not of separation, but of connection between earth, air, and everything we once overlooked. is a sound that belongs to peace, not silence, but water. It begins at the top of the wall, where sunlight touches the first drop, and ends somewhere in the soil, where roots quietly drink. Between those 2 points, the world slows down. This waterfall was not born from marble or steel, but from plastic once emptied and thrown away. The jugs, stacked and shaped by careful hands, have found new rhythm. Each curve of their transparent bodies carries the shimmer of motion, their imperfections bending the light into fragments of color. What once held stillness now carries movement. The garden breathes differently here. The air is cooler, the ground softer beneath bare feet. Ferns lean close to the stream, their fronds glistening with mist. The recycled plastic does not disguise itself. Its origin is visible in every ridge and curve, but somehow, in the dance of water, it looks honest. There's quiet science at play: gravity, flow rate, sunlight refracting through droplets. Yet beyond the physics lies something gentler, the feeling that reuse can sound like a lullaby. The water hums softly, its pattern imperfect, its sound irregular, and that imperfection makes it human. By afternoon, the sunlight breaks against the falling streams, scattering prisms across the nearby leaves. The wall becomes a canvas of motion, a living painting that shifts with every gust of wind. When evening comes, the last golden light rests on the water's surface, turning it into liquid glass. The jugs, once discarded, stand proud in their new role, vessels of sound, rhythm, and calm. And in that steady murmur, the garden remembers. Transformation is not only seen, it can also be heard. From plastic to poetry, from waste to whisper, a simple cascade, and the whole world feels softer. The garden hums before it sings. A hush of air drifts through, and then music. Not perfect, not planned, but real. The kind of sound that belongs to open skies and unguarded moments. From above, tin cans sway on strings, each one a different voice. Some high and tinkling like laughter, others low and hollow like memory. Once, they held paint, beans, soda, remnants of days gone quiet. Now, they hold air, light, and song. When the wind rises, the garden awakens. The cans shimmer in sunlight, their bright colors catching the eye: turquoise, coral, sunflower gold. Each dent and scratch becomes part of the melody. You can hear it if you stand still, a rhythm shaped by breeze and imperfection. The science is simple: metal vibrating against air, resonance shifting with temperature and tension. But the effect feels like something older, something living. The sound moves through leaves, bouncing between petals and walls, until the entire garden feels alive, like a living orchestra without a conductor. Children passing by laugh. Birds tilt their heads. Even the flowers seem to lean closer. It's not loud, but it's everywhere. A harmony of reuse, of rebirth, of small wonders made from the discarded. By sunset, the light turns golden, and the cans glow like lanterns. Their tones soften as the air cools, fading into a whisper. You could almost believe the garden is breathing in time with the music. And when night comes, the orchestra falls silent, waiting for the next breeze. But the feeling lingers, a quiet pride that beauty can exist in sound as much as sight. These cans, these once forgotten things, now speak with the voice of the wind. And together, they remind the world that even trash can hum when given the chance to listen. Between two patches of green, a bridge rises, small enough for a ferry, strong enough for imagination. Its surface glints with color, reds like sunset, blues like forgotten glass, golds that hum when touched by light. Each cap once sealed something ordinary: soda, paint, water, the daily hum of human life. Now they rest together, united in purpose, forming a path that leads nowhere and everywhere at once. In the right light, it feels alive. Sunlight dances across the curved metal, scattering patterns of color on the water below. Even the ripples seem to listen. It's easy to forget how heavy beauty can be when it hides in the smallest things. The caps, pressed side by side, create rhythm and texture. Their shapes lock together imperfectly, yet perfectly enough. The bridge hums softly in the afternoon air, not from sound, but from presence. Technically, it's simple geometry and patience. The curve distributes weight. The structure holds itself through tension. But the emotion it carries can't be measured. It's the kind of creation that turns the mind quiet, that invites the heart to slow down. As the day fades, the colors change. Blues deepen into twilight, reds grow warm like embers, and gold melts into the soft reflection of the setting sun. A frog sits near the edge, unmoving, as if guarding the crossing. The air smells of wet soil and evening light. When night arrives, the bottle caps catch moonlight instead. Their shine becomes softer, more secretive, as if they've traded their brilliance for mystery. And if you listen closely, you might hear it, not a sound, but a feeling, the whisper of transformation, the hum of hands that turned waste into wonder. The bridge stands still, spanning not just soil, but the space between what we discard and what we choose to love again. There's beauty in the broken, if you look long enough. Along the edge of the garden, fragments of clay catch the light. Pieces that once held roots in water, now reborn as a river of color. Red melts into orange, orange into yellow, until every shade of summer curls around the soil like a smile. Each shard bears the story of its fall, a crack, a chip, a mark from time. But beneath a layer of paint and sunlight, they no longer speak of damage. They speak of renewal. Together, they form a border that doesn't separate, but unites between earth and bloom, between what was lost and what still grows. The hand that placed them must have felt the rhythm, rough edge beside smooth curve, a soft press into dark soil. It's a kind of quiet choreography, guided not by precision, but by feeling. The garden accepts them easily. Roots lean in, petals rest against their painted faces. From a distance, the border gleams like scales of a gentle creature sleeping in the sun. Children point and laugh, following the line of color as if it might lead somewhere secret. The clay holds warmth, the paint reflects light. Between the two, something magical happens. Imperfection becomes invitation. There's physics beneath the poetry. Terracotta absorbs heat, keeping the soil steady. Broken edges create grip that anchors the structure. Yet what makes it powerful isn't science, it's sentiment. The act of turning what's broken into beauty is the oldest kind of art. When dusk arrives, the rainbow fades into earth tones, soft and serene. The garden quiets, but the shards remain luminous, as if remembering the sun. They no longer wish to be whole. They are enough as they are. And in their stillness, they remind us, every garden, like every heart, grows best when it learns to love its fragments. They stand in silence, yet the garden feels watched over. Once, these tools turned soil and lifted stones. Now they simply smile. Rusted edges catch the sun. Wooden handles bow slightly from years of work. But with a splash of paint and a touch of imagination, they have become something else, storytellers in disguise. The old shovel wears a straw hat. Its metal face gleams under pastel paint, eyes uneven but kind. Beside it, a rake leans gently, its teeth now painted like a grin. A scarf of burlap hangs loosely from its neck. Together, they look as if mid-conversation, gossiping softly about the weather and the bees. The flowers seem to listen. Marigolds brush against their legs. Herbs grow confidently near their feet. The air hums with the warmth of summer, that lazy, golden kind of afternoon where even the wind takes its time. There's an odd intelligence in their simplicity. The shovel's curved metal reflects light like a mirror, its patina shifting with the hour. The wood grains on the handle tell of seasons past: rain, sun, frost. In repurposing them, nothing was hidden. Their age remains, turned into charm. When evening comes, shadows stretch long across the soil. The painted faces fade into silhouettes, but their presence doesn't dim. They stand like guardians of memory, protectors of laughter and life. A bird lands on the rake's head, unbothered, as if greeting an old friend. This is the soul of upcycling, not disguise, but rebirth. Not erasing what was, but adding to it a new layer of joy atop the honest marks of time. And as the stars begin to show, the little garden feels somehow safer, fuller. The tools no longer dig, but they still nurture. Their work continues, not in soil, but in spirit, proof that even what's worn and weary can still make the world smile again.